Alright, Schlockmeister fans, it's time to watch The Party Animal. Let's check it out.
Sinatra.
This is Pondo.
You know he came to the college on the back of a turnip truck? That's the truth. Problem was he had only one thing on his mind. He had a heart on.
Never again.
I heard about him, and everything I heard about him was true. And now he's famous. I don't believe it. No, capisco, non ieri, ma capita.
Ridiculous.
I'd sell my soul for a piece of ass.
Don't say that.
It's true.
Well, I know it might be true, but don't say it out loud.
I'd sell my soul for a piece of ass. Sorry.
So his buddy agrees to help him, teach him a few things.
Ooh, charm. Atmosphere, Pondo, set the stage. Give her the champagne.
So he's basically telling her what to say.
I can do without the sham. Just give me the pen.
When the transmission fails, though, he's on his own.
Roses are red, violets are blue. You got big tits, I want to suck on them too.
I'm waiting.
Wait, Natasha!
What do I
He
say?
contemplates
Get her
suicide.
to examine you.
What did I say?
Tell me you got a problem with your pecker.
I got a problem with my pecker.
What?
It's a nurse that allegedly likes him.
If you take off yours.
Get up on the
He
table.
thinks he's going to score with her, but this fails too.
Oh, no.
He seeks advice from this guy named Elbow.
Feel it in your body. Hound dog's gonna eat that pussy. Yeah, you said that, boy.
Hound dog is gonna eat that pussy. Tonight.
He goes to a black party.
Don't go home on 3 legs. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, you ain't a man till you made it with a 10.
This ain't gonna work either. His next plan is to infiltrate a sorority dressed as a woman.
Hi, girls. My name's Lou LaBelle. Should play some cards.
What kind of cards do you want to play?
Strip poker.
And there's a big strip poker scene where everybody gets topless. He failed with those ladies. Next thing you know, he tries to get a new look. That doesn't go too well either.
I am not an animal.
Bullshit, that's an animal!
Come on.
So he
don't be
tries his luck at a whorehouse.
Attaboy.
Hi, girls.
What the hell?
For no reason at all, the movie treats us to a bevy of beautiful babes. He tries drugs. Lots of them. But he doesn't get laid. He gets arrested. He ends up in an adult bookstore, video store. Where the employees play war games with dildos.
Go. So Moscow sees it coming and says, "Oh, Amerikansky's sending a muscle. We have to take care of this." It's a vibrator. I'll take it. What size do you want? I want the biggest one you got.
He asked for the biggest one they had.
The word aphrodisiac comes from the African root afro, meaning
Armed with knowledge that aphrodisiacs might exist, he decides to go into the lab to try to create one. And he tries it out on her. So he tries again with a new spray. And a new fail. His next experiment led to a lot of flatulence. Ultimately, he gets kicked out of school.
Pack your things and get out.
But as he's cleaning up the lab, the fumes from his last experiment work. Of course, it does wear off after a while.
Don't you touch me.
Undaunted, he pours the whole container on himself, and then the women are picking up on his scent, or his whatever. Even the two chicks with his roommate. Every chick on campus wants him.
Hondo, take me.
Even when he tries to hide himself behind a costume. Unfortunately, all the large ladies here end up being his undoing. And he dies.
Oh, Panda. For a white boy, he did all right.
All right, let's talk about Party Animal, or The Party Animal. Now, this movie, I don't want to say I have a little history of it, because I don't have a history with the movie. I have history with the trailer. Back in the late 80s, I used to rent a lot of movies, copy them, but if there was any cool trailers on these tapes, I would copy those onto a trailer tape also. One of those movies I kept seeing trailers for was Party Animal, The Party Animal. So I saw the trailer over and over and over again, because I used to watch that trailer tape quite a bit. So I knew a lot of the lines and everything else, just never saw the movie. I think it was around a couple of video stores. I just never managed to get it or copy it. Now, eventually I bought a pre-recorded VHS of it sometime maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s somewhere. I'm not even sure where I picked it up, to be honest with you. But again, I never actually watched it. I didn't watch it for the first time until about 4 or 5 months ago, and it's actually streaming on YouTube. I was working out on an exercise bike, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to watch something I haven't seen before in my collection. Didn't have the disc yet, so I watched it, and you know what, I enjoyed it. Finally picked up the DVD, and very recently, and I watched it again today, and I still pretty much enjoy this movie. It's in a similar vein of like some of the teen sex comedies of the 80s, but again, I just never seen this one before. It's got a fair amount of nudity in it, mostly breasts, but there was, like I said, a decent amount. It stars a guy who, I can't remember his name, but it's Matthew Casse? I don't know, whatever, how you pronounce that. I think he only did one other movie besides this. I think he's gotten into some behind-the-scenes stuff out in film. But anyway, he's a guy who goes off to college. His name is Pondo, and he's horny as hell, and he's never been laid before, and he wants to get laid at college, but he keeps striking out no matter what he does. He has a roommate who's a pretty good-looking guy who gets women, but he can't even help him. Everything he does strikes out. He tries various things. He tries a new look, gets a weird haircut, goes to a sex shop, anything he can do. Eventually, he learns about aphrodisiacs from a college professor. So he thought, maybe I can invent an aphrodisiac. So he goes into the lab and tries to create things. He creates a spray. He sprays one woman and it makes her hair disappear immediately. Sprays another woman and she turns into a gorilla. Fail, fail, fail. Ultimately, he ends up getting kicked out of school for all of his antics. So as he's in the lab cleaning up his stuff, some fumes are in the air from his last experiment, and they get a hold of this woman, and she goes crazy. She's affected by this, and she basically jumps on top of Pondo and ravages him. wow, it worked. Now, it wore off pretty quickly, so he's like, you know what? I'm going to pour the whole shit on me. He pours himself completely in the formula. He walks through the streets. Next thing you know, women are like flocking to him constantly. And this goes on for several days. He gets laid over and over again. He's happy as hell. But then it's too much for him. And ultimately, he ends up, the movie kind of ends really abruptly. He ends up in a laundromat. He's in costume, but nonetheless, his pheromones, his scent or whatever is attracting the women in there. And unfortunately, they're all these 5 very large women, and they kind of all attacked him at once. And the next thing you know, we see his gravestone. I guess it killed him. Here lies Pondo Sinatro. So that's it. That's Party Animal. So anyway, like I said, it says MGM put that out. It's hard to believe, but I enjoyed this movie. It was kind of fun. A cast of literally no one. I didn't recognize anybody in this movie, but they put together, I think, a pretty decent film for what it is. It's an 80s sex comedy, and I thought it was pretty good. You know, the other thing that was good in here is the soundtrack. The soundtrack was pretty darn good, if you ask me. And I know it was a somewhat legit band who did this, because I recognize the names of the bands, although they're not huge. But I can't remember who they were. I think REM had a song here, but I don't know if I heard that one or not. The Buzzcocks, were they in here? I don't know. But anyway, check IMDb if you're curious. But yeah, the soundtrack was pretty jumpy too. I liked it. But anyway, all in all, this is a good movie. Now, usually this runs for about $20 or so on Amazon, eBay. So I think it's worth it. Check it out. So check it out. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about The Party Animal. Watch it. Bye. He's a party animal.